Paresh Patel, President and CEO, System Level Solution Private Limited. Everyone, give it applause and please welcome on stage Paresh Patel. Paresh Patel is a dynamic technology leader and entrepreneur with a deep understanding of the semiconductor, smart metering, and EV industries. As the founder and managing director of System Level Solution, he has built a thriving global enterprise that offers R&D and turnkey engineering solution and service, specializing in embedded system, EDA, and IP core. He is dedicated to supporting the next generation of technology entrepreneurs and engineers by engaging in educational initiatives to inspire the next generation of technology entrepreneurs. Thank you very much, sir. We are glad to have you here. Next, I would like to invite on stage the panelist of this panel, Mr. Yogesh Kumar, Director Commercial, MVVNL. Everyone, please welcome on stage Mr. Yogesh Kumar. And the next panelist is Mr. Ashish Gupta, Deputy General Manager, PowerGrid Corporation of India Limited, PowerGrid Energy Services Limited. Everyone, with the round of applause, please welcome on stage Ashish Gupta. Next, we have Mr. Sanjeev DHAMIJA, Head BD T&D Project Implementation, the Tata Power Company Limited. Everyone, with the round of applause, please welcome on stage Sanjeev DHAMIJA. Next, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Ashish Tandon, EVP, Genus Power Infrastructure Limited. Everyone, with the round of applause, please welcome Ashish Tandon on the stage, our next panelist. Next, we have Sunil Singhvi, CEO of Secure Meters. Everyone, with the round of applause, please welcome our next panelist, Sunil Singhvi. Next, we have Sanjeev Sinha, President, IT and Digitization, India Power Corporation Limited. Everyone, please welcome on stage Sanjeev Sinha. Here is all the panelists. Now I'm proceeding forward the panel discussion, and over to you, Mr. Paresh Patel, sir.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. So we are going to shorten the 1-hour session to about 45 minutes, and hopefully we'll be able to get through this quickly. So in his keynote, Rahulji provided a high-level view of and a glimpse of the entire smart metering project. Now with our industry stalwarts here, we're going to kind of drill down into some of those operational and other issues that are a part of this entire system and ecosystem. So I'd like to start off quickly off the bat with Sanjeevji, or Sunilji, sorry, from Secure, and ask a few questions and make it a more interactive session with everybody. And so one of the questions that pops up into everybody's minds is, how should automated metering ISPs ensure timely rollouts?
Thank you very much. I think this program, as Mr. Dwivedi said, is a time-bound plan. And the revenue of all AMISP, as you know, is based on meter months. And if you don't complete your task within a particular time period, you will not earn the required IRR. And this program is very important, is a partnership mode. The meter AMISP alone can't do anything unless a proper handholding between the DISCOM and AMISP is done. And 2 or 3 important points I would like to bring based on my experience of working with the various utilities. One, I think the advanced planning of this project is very, very important. Starting from basically collecting data. Because what happens, this meter has to go to each and every house. You have to bring this data to IT systems, MDM, everything. Unless your quality of data is very important, then the ramp-up speed gets impacted. The bigger challenge is what you're looking from this whole program. And my big concern today is we are all talking about AT&C loss reduction only. But believe me, this 10,000 rupees asset can do much more than a simple metering and billing. You can optimize your investment, you can manage your renewable generation, distribution, everything very well. unless the distribution company engineers and the consultants and the system providers, even I said even before bidding, they should develop a benefit matrix, benefit diagram. Okay, what this investment of, say, one state is rolling out 20 million meters. Is not a small sum of money. It's a 20,000 crore rupees investment. If you are making a capex plan of 20,000 crore rupees, unless you make a proper planning, let me tell you, there will be a lot of to and fro. And your report approval, etc., will take 10 months, 12 months, 15 months. Okay, this program is not meeting my expectation, etc. So my submission for the owner of the program, distribution companies, have your internal workshops, what you are looking from this program, what output you want, and document it properly, because expected bidding document is a general guideline. Unless you give a clear mandate to the system provider, there will be a lot of to and fro. And one state you have 5 discoms, every will have a different output. So this is my one suggestion. So if you start proactively working from date minus today, then only you reach the program. And the last one, I think a lot of people will be talking about consumer engagement. I think one step more than that. It's not only publicity in this thing. You have to deliver the experience. These all programs are delivering smart prepayment meter. Imagine a consumer who paid money to you and his supply is disconnected. You will lose the trust and confidence, and I'm not talking about the political hue and cry. I am talking about simple person who paid 200 rupees. He will this, my old system was better. So unless system designers, the equipment manufacturers, and let me tell you, best of the communication system, you all experts are sitting here, there will be areas where the communication will not work. Unless you make provision that you can provide through a mobile phone or manually, etc., you will end up, your consumers in program will be disconnected in the night time, everything. And a lot of hue and cry will happen and the program will get delayed. My experience of worldwide, including Australia, etc., stop in smart meeting program is very common. Unless we guys plan in advance, not only engagement will not only help. We as a system integrator or the manufacturer have to ensure that they have an excellent experience. Payment gateway, how will pay? Even I talk to a number of people, even they go to utility office and pay today. Is it the right way of implementation? No. So unless I think these 5-6 points are taken care, we'll have a solid delay in the program unless we take care of these points. Thank you very much.
Great, yeah, and has anybody done the numbers on 250 million meters? So just quickly while I was doing it, I took out the numbers, and that means that we have to provide 6.9 million meters per month, and then on top of that, we have to provide 2.32 lakh meters per day. Now, how is that going to achieve? It takes a village, is what they say, right? And it's going to take a number of companies in India to do that. And I'm going to now move on to technology here. Sandeep ji. And you know, building upon what Sunil ji has said is, what are your thoughts on the ramp up of production and supply chain issues?
Like we earlier in the first inaugural session, so that we already have some plan for chip manufacturing in India that is further going to ease some supply chain issues. Yes, in the beginning we probably are facing some issues, but I think the government agencies, Ministry of Power is working on it, and already in Rahulji's presentation that they are working to ensure that there are enough import of the components that are required for smart metering. But all said and done, few things what we can do is that there are some things are already there in as a part of SBD and guidelines, where it is said that there is a bid capacity for each meter manufacturer. So it is not like that you award all 60%, 70% of the 1 meter manufacturer, then everyone is struck. So it has to be an equal distributed way. Second challenge is, if you define the bid capacities, you have to have a large number of meter manufacturers. So there are large number of meter manufacturers, but if you see the larger segment or big OEMs, they are not very large numbers. So we need to have some sort of mechanism where we also develop some smaller player or medium players. So because it's a huge plan, 25 crores is not a small numbers, and gradually they also get experience and then become as a major player in the market. So third is the support of state governments is very important to help in the rollouts. And it's not like that if we are not getting meters, then agencies or implementation partners are penalized. So it will discourage the players that are going to participate, because they are going to invest. It's not they are getting small money, but everything they are investing. So it's investors, they need to be given confidence. And in case there are some issues that are beyond the control, that should be recognized and helped by everyone. So these are the things at this point of time I say we should be doing. Thank you.
That's right, yeah, and to, I guess, to reinforce the amount of meters that need to be created, we're going to have to create an industry that can support that. And one follow-up question for you, Sandeep, is what is the, what's the communication technology mix that's going to be required for this?
This is actually a good question. So in last several years, we have tried several technologies in India. If you see in Tata Power, we also have, we have tested PLC, PLCC, we have tested NB-IoT, we have tested RF, we have already installed our 3-4 lakh meters in Delhi, and GPRS also. But if you see majorly, it is going to be a RF and GPRS, you say either 4G, 5G. And in between two, currently if you see my preference, currently there are issues not in terms of technology, but in terms of reliable players that are going to stay over a period of 10 years for the RF. Considering the past issues where some companies would not like to name specific, but they have been in RF business, they have wrapped up the business, new person coming in. So it's a sustainability issue. Till as an investor or as an implementer, Tata Power, if I see that I need to see some reliable player in the RF that they are going to support my investment for a period of 10 years. For GPRS, already the telecom is already established, and the amount of 25 crore meters are peanuts for the data and the things they are handling for a large number of population, our 140 crore population, and we have our 250 crore mobiles. So going with that numbers, I think my preference would be GPRS. Till we see some solid and or companies coming in and giving some confidence on long-term sustainability of RF mesh solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So now moving on to what, we talked about meters, its issues or for delivery, RF. Now, what about the operation and maintenance side? Ashish ji, could you enlighten us a little bit on what makes that, what's the key factors that are going to make that a success?
Sir, PowerGrid through its wholly owned subsidiary PSL, we are aiming for deployment rollout of 10 million meters, and we believe that O&M is going, as Singhvi sir said, that O&M is going to be the crux of this whole project. Installation is tough because timelines are quite stringent, but even after installation, O&M is going to play the important part. As Singhvi sir has already highlighted, if imagine one consumer gets disconnected, what kind of hue and cry it may raise. So we have planned this project in a way that we would have boots on the ground to address any kind of consumer grievance. And the crux, as I said, that handling the consumer grievance would be the main issue, how proper and how effectively we do it. So we have planned almost 200 odd manpower on the ground for one DISCOM, apart from the vendor who will be working for us. Their manpower is, of course, would be there, but we'll be supporting, augmenting and supervising them. And we have also planned our communication and cloud requirements in a manner that the whole system can be run for 10 years without or almost virtually interruption free. And if there's any grievance, genuine grievance from any consumer, Our team would be tasked to install check meters instantaneously, urgently. And I believe that many utilities have very good meter testing setup, trained manpower. So the meter, any suspicious meter can be tested in a transparent way subject to the regulatory provisions of that DISCOM. So these things, these small steps will go a long way to instill confidence towards this new scheme in the mind, in the heart of the consumers. And at the end of the day, I believe that with the ease of access and control on the consumption of the power, these two things will surely resonate with the consumers, and they will very easily and very happily accept this transition, sir.
Great, and in that process, are you seeing consumer resistance? And if you are, what are the measures to overcome them?
Yeah, as I explained earlier, that we have a plan for a deployment of good number of manpower there. To consumer engagement is of course a part of this RDSS smart metering rollout. But apart from that, our teams would be there on the ground during the deployment stage. We have kept it quite tough for us, 27 months to deploy the meters. And those teams will be handling the consumer grievances in coordination with the utilities. And I believe that, yes, initial days might encounter some resistance, because nothing can be pushed down the throat to anyone. But as we work, as we deal with the consumers, they would see our intention, they would see our promptness in handling those things. So I believe that it will help us a lot. And one last thing I would like to say, that consumer race is not new to any of us who are from the distribution and transmission sector. We have been facing this ROW issues, not at the end consumers level, but not even a single line can be laid, not even a single substation can be constructed without handling the consumer resistance. So we are quite aware of it, and we are geared up. We are quite dedicated, motivated to handle all those things, and we know we'll win the trust of the consumers.
Great, thank you. I think one of the good things here in India is the consumer hasn't got caught on to, like in the United States and UK, they're saying these new smart meters are going to affect my brain, or they're going to affect my health. That hasn't happened yet. and that's good news. That's one less hurdle that we have to address. But now moving on to Sanjeevji, building on Ashishji's talk, how are, we saw, how are smart meters going to be useful to consumers and the DISCOM?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Good morning, all the attendees, and thank you, AAYERA, for inviting me. We have been talking about the implementation of 250 million smart meters. That's a mammoth task by itself. We are going, I think, we have already heard that we are going well. It will be done. But there is another mammoth task which is awaiting after the implementation, or even during the implementation, is how to ensure that the benefit reaches the consumers and the DISCOMs, the main two stakeholders. Large number of smart meter getting implemented means that a huge amount of data is getting generated out of these smart meters. Typically 15 minutes frequencies, the data getting generated there. The important thing is, if we have to ensure that the benefit reaches the stakeholders, we have to have an appropriate mechanism for usage of this large volume of data before that benefit can actually accrue. We heard about some of the energy audits. We heard about energy accounting. We have so many problems to address, for example, high AT&C loss. If we have to do that, the energy audit, the energy accounting is absolutely necessary. But again, a good start has been made. Some usage of data has happened, but I think that's just a good start. There's a huge amount of work to be done for the utilization of these data before they can actually result into a benefit for the consumers and the DISCOMs and other stakeholders there. I think there a lot of work requires to be done. So I would suggest that a data mechanism team should be there, which can actually look into this data usage kind of a thing. One of the ways in which this benefits can accrue or can be passed on to the stakeholders is through the use of data analytics. Data analytics is an emerging field, has already been adopted by many companies, but I find utility has not completely used it to the extent that it could have. And with the large mounting amount of data coming up, I think it is time that we exploit this area even further so that it can, pass on the benefits to the consumers, the discoms, and everyone alike. Everyone has certain expectations from the smart meters, and I think to meet those kind of expectations, and the expectations are changing. Discoms are looking at a lower AT&C loss. Consumers are looking for far more clearer information on the power usage or the power that they are getting. All these information has to be put through a mechanism like a data analytics or something like that before they can actually accrue. Data analytics will offer predictive part also. As we go along, people will be able to see what they expect even for tomorrow, and that will help them even more. So I think there is a huge amount of work to be done on the data usage part before those benefits can actually accrue to all of them.
Great, and just to follow up on that, are there any specific consumer or discom applications that have already been built out that are successful?
So typically the data are accumulating in two main places. There's a temporary repository called HES and the permanent one called the MTM. Data analytics is required to be done from both these sources. So there is a good amount of dashboard reporting which has already started. I see that all over, and that is already giving out the benefits. I think as the data accumulates and the period of data also accumulates, I think the area of predictive analytics also needs to be explored even further. Because if we see something in future, and if we don't see that future very good, we can correct it. Today, for example, a demand management. We have a huge capacity in the country, but we still are, the production is still less than the demand, because the demand management has not been addressed well. Demand for tomorrow, not for today, tomorrow. So those kind of problems can be addressed if this data can be used even better, using some schemes like predictive analytics.
Great, great. And now we'll move to Yogesh ji. Yogesh ji, what are the important aspects? So we've seen, the meters, the data analytics. What are the important aspects of a full, successful deployment for meters?
Main important thing data we have to take care for successful implementation of the smart metering project. Firstly, when we are going to start the project, then firstly we have to train the persons who are doing the first job. First job is the consumer indexing. This is the basic first job for the smart metering project. So first of all, we have to train the persons who are going for consumer indexing at the consumer end, because this most important thing is ignored by most of the persons and most of the companies, which will affect in future for implementation of the project. Secondly, when a person is going to consumer indexing, the team is going to for consumer indexing, then he must take care of the signal strength at the premises of the consumer. This is the most aspect with the reference to the all other data, that means consumer data, basic data, consumer account ID, name, and other things. By taking consumer account ID and consumer details, we have experienced that multiple consumers are running at the site, but they were stopped in the billing system and not billed. Because in the regulations there is a provision that if a consumer is disconnected from the pole and entered as disconnected in the system, then this will automatically, billing of that consumer is automatically stopped after 6 months. So when we are, so that means then billing is stopped after 6 months, then there will no bill will be generated for that consumer, and no data will be given to the field staff who is going for billing purposes. So you will get number of consumers who are not in billing data, and different type of name change and other type of issues you will find. So you have to take care all this in your database and account for, and all the data that discrepancy you have found must be given to the DISCOM utility, so that the DISCOM utility must correct that data for smart metering purposes. Secondly, when a person is going for consumer indexing, then he must take care of the signal strength of the house at location where the meter may be installed from the outside the house, so that the basic data that installing a AMI-SP has with him, that the which pocket is not getting the proper signal for AMI for communication partner, which may be Vodafone, maybe Airtel, maybe any other provider. So basic difference, basic negativity comes from this time, this start point. Means when you install a smart meter at the premises of the consumer, then he will not get the bill, not get meter. If meter is not communicated, then consumer is not getting the bill, and he will get irritated from the day first. So you have to take care for signal strength and find out the pocket where the signal is not proper. So for signal strength, for that pocket, you can do multiple analysis, or may call the communication partner to improve the signal strength. So this is the basic step which must be performed with the full strength. Secondly, when afterwards, when you are going to install the meter, then you have identified each consumer, you have proper signal strength, then the meter installation process will be very easy for every thing. Means when to install a meter at the consumer house, then the signal strength is proper, communication is proper with the HCS. So the data installation process will be completed at that time. So this is the must. After installation of meter, you have to take care of the meter that has been brought from the consumer point of service point. So we have multiple issues for this also. If we take care of this meter, old meter that has been bought, replaced by the smart meter, to be submitted to the utility well in time or a defined time. Maybe a process may be developed for submitting the meter to the utility or DISCOM person, because as per regulations, all of you knows that when a meter is brought to the utility office, then a meter or meter lab is authorized to check the meter is perfect or not. When the meter sealing certificate or report is given by the utility person, maybe DISCOM person, then the process of meter installation is completed in the system. Maybe installation completed at the consumer premises, but the meter installation is completed in the system only after the report of the test lab. That means if this any process is left in meanwhile, then consumer will not get the bill on time. Means if 5 consumer is left over for the meter test report, then they will not get the bill up to the maybe 4 years or maybe for 2 years. In our system, we have found in UP that when we get analyzed that which consumer is not getting the bill and why he is not getting the bill. Then we have found that this type of issues are there, and consumer not getting the bill for 1 or 2 years from the installation of the meter. Then that means this will give the negativity to the consumer, basic negativity. Consumer will tell that he is not getting the bill, and when he get the bill for a huge amount, then he will get saying to a person that this bill is so much huge amount, and this type of issues may be multiple type of this type of issues. So basic, I suggest all of the MISPs that be cautious to consumer indexing. This is the basic step for the smart metering. Then all other process will have the multiple type of the issues. Secondly, take care of the, because in the new system, the multiple HCS, multiple MDM will be available for multiple vendors, a different type of vendors. So I also suggest that please take care of the scenarios that may be applicable for different utilities or different type of scenarios. As in our system, we find one scenario in our HCS that a command is initiated for disconnection, and that group was deleted, and that scenario was not account for in the system. So that command was generated for all the 100% consumers, maybe key star was star dot star. So we have to take care of this type of scenarios, or plug in multiple type of permissions to the staff or the operating staff, so that different type of scenarios by plugging this, a huge negativity to the consumer may be saved.
Thank you, thank you, Yogesh ji. So Sunil ji, earlier we talked about the number of meters that need to be created, and now, as Yogesh ji pointed out, there's an installation aspect that relates to the consumer, but let's focus in on the installation. How many people are going to be needed per day to install 2.3 lakh million meters at some lag period, or is it going to be a ramp? How do you see that ramp, and how is that going to happen? How many people are going to be needed in India, and is the employment a really good factor in this? That was for Sunil.
I think per team, depending upon geography, may install between, say, 7 to 10 meters a day. And the biggest problem will be, as you said, if this program has to be completed by 2025, still the bidding is taking place. So about 18 months time, you want 250 million meters to install. And I think it goes to more than 100 million meters a month. You can calculate a number. And I think India has so far maximum installed about 35 million meters a year. So I think biggest challenge is the getting skilled technician, manpower. And number two, it's a communicating meter. It's not a normal meter, just connect 4 wires and leave the premises. You have to ensure it is commissioned. Because it's a premium meter, you have to train the lady in the house or somebody in the house how the system will work. So the installation time is longer. So I think the biggest challenge, even today, is getting the skilled manpower. And number two, stability of the manpower. Because a lot of people are from the village side, etc. So they will come for 10 days, then they go for farming, and then you struggle. So I think installation ramp up. So we all talk about supply chain issues and supply ramp up. But as per me, the biggest will be the real in-field installations and getting manpower to install and contract to install.
Oh, no, absolutely.
See, when it comes to manpower, there is an important step which my fellow speaker had also pointed out. It is regarding the consumer indexing. That also requires a huge amount of manpower, skilled manpower. Okay, so one is bringing in consumer indexing, engaging manpower there, of course training them. Then comes the field automation, which is a huge step, because if you are here engaging large number of manpower, you need to bring that kind of a automation, because you need to bring in that kind of accuracy. That also is important here. And then the actual implementation actually starts, where you have trained people for the meter part. So before we reach that meter stage, we have quite a few steps where the manpower also needs to be engaged, trained, and finally, completed.
Yeah, and are we seeing any government, to all of you, are we seeing any government institutions, ITIs, or anything like that actually having curriculum to engage? Because I've talked to ITIs before, and they don't seem to be like engaged with what the meter is and how it functions and how to install it. Is in the UK, this is what we had, is that they trained a number of people on this, and it took them some amount of time, and that training has to start actually yesterday, isn't it?
I think no IT or even other institutes talk about the smart metering and how the meters to be installed. I think one area where I think manufacturing industry and power sector skill council can do, because we from EMA side work very closely with the government of India from Power Sector Skill Council, and I think we can design curriculum along with in Power Sector Skill Council, because electricians are available. Because meter, and particularly as he said, these are the mobile app software tools, communication commissioning tools. So typical 4-wire connection is not there. They have to use software applications, and I think Power Sector Skill Council and the manufacturers and utilities, a joint effort can be done in this direction.
I would like to add on this. For our projects, we have already planned, and as we are talking here, we have batches getting trained in NPTI, and although the contract has not been awarded yet, but we have moved ahead with the training. We are hiring people, we are training people, so we are quite geared up. So I'm talking about the scale of the project that we are handling, going to handle. So yes, as Sir has said, that maybe some national level program can be done.
We need to scale up your scale up. Sanjeev, do you have anything to add?
So one point here, while the availability of trained manpower is required, and probably apart from ITIs, the local contractors or the people who are going to support this, they also play important role. Other thing is the safety issue. More important of lack of training is a safety issue. Such large number of meter installation per day by some semi-trained or some people is a huge safety issue, and risking someone's life. So that is the important thing that we are taking care when we are thinking of our implementation plan.
No, great, thank you. Now I'm going to switch gears to a completely off the topic type of question, and it's going to be a curveball for you, those of you that follow baseball. But what do you think about the Cellular Operations Association of India plea to basically tax the free unlicensed spectrum for 865 and 868 megahertz, which is being used in a number of the smart metering infrastructure? So they've made, I read an article in the Indian Express, I believe, that said that, oh, the unlicensed band is going to be not secure, and not this, and not that, and made, basically are making recommendations to basically kind of close those bands off for smart metering. And what is everybody's thoughts on that? Is that, should that be allowed to move forward, or that's just not going to happen? What are your thoughts? Maybe Sanjeev, you can start.
So,
or yes, Yogesh ji.
It is a better solution to free the bandwidth for the cellular operators, but there must be a control for everything. If there will no control, then it will be difficult to for multiple purposes, maybe security purposes and other type of purposes. So I think maybe free from the government side, but with certain controls.
There are some other use cases. It's not only that free band is being used only in smart metering. There are also multiple use cases of free band. Free band is required by different the toy industry and other things, the remote controlled applications. So any free band they have to kept, and if you basically, as if I think you cannot demarcate that this free band is to be going to use for such purpose. If at a local level, because it's a low power thing, and with a small in a concentrated area, mainly used for RF mesh, can be allowed, and mainly like we discussed, it depends upon the more reliable players using that technology, and the data security definitely can be built up. There are other communication technologies that ensure that in a free band you have a more secure data flowing in.
I would like to add a practical aspect to this. Saying this, that at this stage when the whole scheme has been planned, when tenders have been floated, at this stage somebody says that now this free band needs to be taxed or some, so it's practically not possible, not feasible, not going to happen. Second thing is regarding security, as you said, security can be taken care of at the device level, at the control center level. So that is something that I don't see happening right now.
No, that's good to hear. Sunil, you'd like to add?
I think the most important, we as an industry have to think about is, as he said, I think communication technology, every communication technology, I'm not against to improve any particular communication technology, but only one concern I have, the multiple solutions which are popping up in the country. As you know, Paresh, in the UK, a lot of emphasis has been put on the security, and there is security SE SEC panel is there. In India, a lot of mushrooming of the technology is taking place. It's not only the meter manufacturers are also responsible, and it's not only that proper key encryption and proper management and proper certification, etc., is in need of, or people are not thinking about it. Backend and software, etc., is another area, but I think network intrusions, if not designed properly, is a big risk. And I think whether cellular or whether radio, I think need of hour is to institute, there was an initiative by CM earlier, but I think industry has to come together and a SEC panel sort of thing. One, I have serious concern on device level security today in the country. I will not openly tell, but I'm telling again, Yogesh Kumar, you know my views in the last conference also, but nothing is moving slowly. Communication devices plus at the network intrusions which are creating, again securities are built in or not. And third is operational practices and the head-end systems. We need to travel many miles, and my biggest concern, we are accelerating program, but if accelerate is very good, we should do it. But if we don't take care of those aspects, then it will be too late after putting 60, 70 millimeters.
No, agreed.
That's
This smart metering can be considered critical national infrastructure, correct? And so there's going to be, like we've alluded to, there's going to be extra add-on services that will be put on top of the current.
I think more than technology, let me see. A disgruntled employee of any organization.
Absolutely.
Sir was talking about disconnecting meters. Okay, it was some issue technical. But let's say non-technical issues. In UK, you know very well, from UK security agency, the person operating data center has to be certified. Now, in our systems, whether we have controls, check, etc., I have my serious concern. So my request to the implementation agency, I think, I don't know who are here from the government side, this has to be seriously looked into. Otherwise, we are all talking about the neighboring country, all other issues, but not taking technological aspect and the practices aspect and the audit sides of it.
Yeah, just like we talk about having meters designed for India, for the Indian condition, and the entire infrastructure for the Indian condition, this is one aspect that we do. And I'd like to basically give a round of applause to everybody for doing this, for giving their thoughts. We're going to end the session with now question and answer from the audience. I did want to have some question and answer from the audience. We've got about 4 minutes, so are there any questions that would like to be asked? Bansalji?
I am Rajesh Bansal. Definitely, as per the topic, we have to roll out 250 million smart meters. It's the need of the hour. And definitely, we distribution companies and the power sector, we need smart meters. But I just want to share my apprehension and want to have the comments from all the experts. In the zeal to have this 250 million meters within the next 2 years or so, what I have seen a bit change in the character, the nature of the manufacturing companies like meter manufacturing companies. Earlier, the meter companies used to dedicatedly do only the meter business. They have big R&D teams. They have experts who are dedicatedly work. Today, you are buying a design from A company, buying PCB from G company, fitting in a box, and then selling it like a meter. And that too, not just a product, it's a system, guaranteed for 10 years. Are we really ensuring and doing proper validation of those such people's?
I think your question alludes to what Sunilji had said, that, and is there anybody in the speaker?
So this is
I
my first thing, and this is my observation, I can say, is the validation.
Question for
just I will finish it. Is the validation is not required? Are we saying that qualifying and meeting the IS requirement is the ultimate validation? It gives a guarantee, and for 10 years. And second thing is, we say data will come, and then we will do blah, 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 wonder. We have changed from 15 minutes to 5 minutes, so many data. Has anybody checked? Because I did it. I will not share the data, but I did it. I put some condition in the meter where alert is generated for all nonsense things, like voltage fluctuated by 0.1, generate alert, this thing. And I found, I put a normal meter and a smart meter, I found the consumption difference, the recording was big difference because of so much power used by the smart meter for communicating those alerts, connect, disconnect. So in the zeal to connect too much data, are we not compromising in terms of wattage consumption by the meter? पता पड़ा हम AT&C कम करने गए तो मीटर में पावर खर्च कर दी सर.
Great.
So this
I'll respond to that. I think is a serious concern, and I think government is also aware about it. I think I fully agree with you, sir. The complying to specification doesn't give guaranteed reliability. There are different reliability standards, and we from EMA side, because I know President EMA also Manufacturers Association, we have taken with the government, and Honorable Minister agreed that he's looking into whether reliability standards. There are a lot of reliability standards, and they have to be brought into the country. And he had tasked us, Manufacturers Association, to come out with your recommendations. We are working on the recommendations because this is a serious concern government also has. Okay, if you don't get reliable meter, the whole program gets impacted.
Yeah, we have to take a look at everything as an entire system and not just pieces that are assembled together. Yeah, exactly. Now we had one question out here. We've got about a minute left, so go ahead.
Sir, I am A.K. Rajput. I am introducing again myself from CEA. Communication is the backbone, and whatsoever the spectrum will be utilized also needs some cost if we do not use the free band. How the metering industry and this whole smart grid initiative should move, whether it should work from henceforth on the free spectrum or should we go in for the paid spectrum?
So I guess, yeah. Let me start the answer, and then we'll have probably some other people answer it. And I think it's all of the above. You know, you can have a mixed model where you can have some meters operating, let's say, on a NB-IoT solution that's basically a licensed spectrum, and you can have some meters using a mesh RF system that's on the unlicensed system, and then you just have to have the back-end systems to basically make sure that that data, the person at the utility doesn't care where it's coming from. So it can be a mixture of technologies, a heterogeneous network per se, to do this. You can even use G3 PLC, which is power line communication for this. There's no issues about the technology, it's that you want to get the data out there. And I don't know if you agree with me or not, but
so I have slight different opinion. This point have been from last several years, whether utilities to have a dedicated free bandwidth to work on that. I believe yes, and that will definitely help because everything is to be borne by consumer. So whatever we are charging, whatever is to be charged to AMISP will be back to back taken from a consumer. So this will definitely help, and this is one kind of resource available with the Government of India, which definitely can help in scaling up of smart metering initiative.
Great, I think with that, our time is up. Unfortunately, we don't have more time. We will then, I guess, conclude the session. So thank you very much, all the speakers here. Thank you so much. Yep.